Let's bring in Congressman John Garamendi, Democrat of California. Congressman, thanks so much for being with us this morning. First, we should note, you were not in the building when the rioters broke in yesterday, but I understand you were on your way there. When you heard what was happening and what did you hear and when did you get the word to shelter in place? What was going through your mind?
Well, we knew that a vote was about to commence, that there would be a process that required us to return to the floor. There were a limited number of people allowed in the chamber, and I was not in that first group to be at the chamber. The Capitol Police met me and said, no, you cannot go forward, go back, shelter in place, find someplace safe to be. You cannot go to the Capitol. That was a story for most of us. Those folks that were in the Capitol, some of whom you just heard their interview, it was extraordinary, frightening, and scary. This was a mob. This was a riotous mob incited by the president to go to the Capitol for one purpose, and that was to stop the process of the election. The final step of the election was to take place at the Capitol. These mobsters and thugs were sent there by the president to stop that process. And they did for several hours. But then once they were cleared out of the Capitol, we recommenced the process of determining and counting the electoral votes. That was done. It was late at the night early in the morning when it was finished. But nonetheless, the process of this democracy went forward despite the efforts of the president to physically stop it with a riotous mob.
Congressman, some of your colleagues are now calling for President Trump's removal from office, either through impeachment or the 25th Amendment. Where do you stand on that?
I would support an impeachment resolution. It's not going to go forward. There isn't time. In fact, now the Congress is in recess until the 21st, until the 20th, to the inaugural day or the 21st. So we're not back at the Capitol. But if there were an impeachment resolution introduced, I would support it. This president attempted to stop the election process with violence. And there's much more beyond that. He attempted to do an election coup with the pressure that he put on the Georgia Secretary of State to illegally find 7,000 plus votes.
Are you...
All of them.
Oh, go ahead.
I would just say all of those are contrary to law, contrary to his oath of office, and a clear abuse of power, and in fact, in two cases, I believe, criminal activity. The incitement to riot, as well as the effort to pressure the Georgia Secretary of State to illegally find 7,800 votes.
But at the end of the day, do you think we just kind of got to get through the next 13 days as far as keeping him in office, or do you think something needs to be done to get him out?
I would hope that whatever remains of the staff at the White House would not allow the president to do anything further to disrupt this process of a peaceful transfer of power, if he signs a document, they hide the document. They don't pass it forward. Shut down his Twitter account, isolate him, keep him locked in his room.
That's talking about the President of the United States. Congressman John Garamendi, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We're glad you're safe and your colleagues as well.